welcome to Papastache 102. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take three chords, a G, a C, and a D. Now typically we could play those, like normal, just strum it. But what we're going to do is we're going to analyze different G, C, and D shapes all over the neck. And what we're going to do is we're going to use rhythm to help us get better at melodic lead playing. There's also a video that describes this in depth down below in the description box, so check that out as well. It's going to be not only go deeper into this, but it's a different key, so it's great to learn different keys. That one I believe is an A, so it'll help you start to visualize your chords all over the neck, which is key to melodic soloing. So let's zoom in for a closer look. Check it out. All right, so let me give you the basic concept of what we're going to do here, and it's something that I've learned while teaching and trying to break down stuff to people, that if you learn to see the chord shapes all over the neck and make that be the priority rather than the scale, right? The scale is important. So say we're in G major, so we're going to play a G chord, a C chord, and a D chord. This scale, the G major scale, or the G major pentatonic to be more specific, is great. But what happens is we learn the shape rather than why the shape works. And what we need to do is we need to see the chord tones or the target notes of each chord within those scale shapes to learn how to figure out how to solo melodically. So check this out. One of the ways I started really being able to do that was being able to transition from chord to chord all over the neck and do it to where my rhythm playing led into the next chord. So say we're doing like... Okay, now it almost kind of, it's very Hendrix or R&B-ish. Could be country, could be any of that stuff. But what started happening once I could play the chord shapes all over the neck was I was like, oh my God, this is how you're supposed to solo. This is how you learn how to solo melodically. Once you can see those chord shapes underneath those scales, then it's like, oh, there's all those notes you're supposed to hit. So when I did this riff... I'm using the G major pentatonic right there, right? And I'm just learning how to hit those notes within that chord shape. So here's my G chord. Right? The reason that riff always sounds so cool, and you hear people do that all the time, right? And then maybe the... all those riffs work is because those are taking part of the chords. When I did the first one and transitioned up to there, what I'm doing is I'm really playing part of this G major chord. Not only am I playing part of that chord, but the two most important notes of the chord, which is the root and the major third. Now I can keep doing that style and walk right into my C chord, right? right? Back to my G, and then I can do the same thing. Right? And I'm playing rhythm, but now it's starting to bridge that rhythm and lead gap. And all I've done is I've taken one idea, taking the major third and the root of each chord, using the scale to chain them together, the pentatonic scale, and just went to the appropriate little grouping here when I transition chords. So G, and then I walked up for the C, G, okay, so that's one idea. But now since I'm all the way up here, if I knew some other chord inversions, right? So this is an E. If you imagine, you know, I'm talking about open position chords, this would be an E shape. Now this E shape, when I put my first finger on this note here, becomes that D chord. But the E shape represents this part of the chord. Now, it works for all the chords, A, D, and if you want to learn more about that and the inversions in these shapes, learn the caged system. It's very, very, very beneficial. Helps you see the chords all over the neck. And you'll understand that shape thing I'm talking about way better. Now, since I'm up here, I'm at D, and I'm like, oh God, I got to get to G. Now, when you know the chords on the neck, okay, and this shape right here is basically 5th position pentatonic. Okay, now this note right here is borrowed from another spot. Right? And if I stayed strictly G major pentatonic, then I'm going to miss this part of the G. Now this is out of the G major scale that this note comes out of. So what I could do is, I know I've got two options getting back to G that are right here. I can either play the G chord right here. So I'm here. I could go play that G right there, or I could go to here. This D shape. There's a G right here, so I go. Now what I could do is I could chain the scale shapes together, the 5th and the 4th position of G major, and get right back and lead right into that G chord by using the scale shape as my road map and my chord tones as my destination. Which is right out of the 4th position pentatonic. Okay, so if you know this shape right here, this is where those cool all those cool licks are. So that's, when you bend up the 10th fret, which gets you back into this, right? You're bending this note right here in the 4th position G major pentatonic, the B string 10th fret. When you bend that note up, you're bending back into the major third of G. Okay, so you go. Now my next one's C. Now I can go back to this C shape right here. So right? So what I did there is I used the scale again, going from those same two spots, but now I hit and covered the C chord, right? So this is part of the C. So this would be the 4th position major pentatonic, slid up to the 5th position, which gets me back into that G chord, right? And so that'll lead me back into my G. right? So it's now you're seeing, oh my gosh, okay, so here's the scale positions, or hopefully you're seeing, right? I know all my pentatonic positions, but now you're seeing where the chords actually fall into those shapes. So right here, right, that position 5 of major pentatonic, I got my D chord right inside there. I also got my G chord right inside there. I also got my C chord right here too. So it's all part of those chords. If I wanted to emphasize the G, right? Now I want to go to the C. Back to my G. Now I'm emphasizing the D. Right? Back to G. My C. Right, so I'm using, again, those chord tones. You're aiming for seeing the chord shapes within those scales so you can play melodically, basically playing the chord tones, right? Like we said, in that one tiny spot, I hit all those chord tones, and it was a melodic phrase, and it sounded like I was playing over chords because I could tell where the notes were going, right? G. You can tell that would switch. Right, back to my G. D. Now if I hit 2 of the notes together, you're really going to know what chord I'm playing, right? The C. Back to my G, this shape. Right there, I just pulled part of the D chord, C chord, and then led back into my G. So if you learn to do that over your rhythm and to be able to play your rhythm over each spot of the neck by using those chord inversions, your lead playing will take off in ways you never thought. Now, it might not be technically terrifying, lead guitar playing, right? You can see like 3-year-olds playing arpeggios that Yngwie would, fawn over at this point on YouTube. But that's not necessarily music. What we want to do is, even if we can't play fast, we want to be melodic. Some of the best players ever that have ever played guitar, with the Gilmores, the Claptons, the, Mark Knopflers, all these super incredible, Hendrix, all these people, Stevie Ray, they didn't always play fast, they played melodic, and it's the melodies of their solos that we really remember and latch onto. Now, that's not to say that, speed isn't something to be desired too. Some of my favorite players like, Van Halen and Neil Schon and Journey and all these guys, they're terrifying and they're fast and they're aggressive and they have technique and melody, but still they write good songs and their lead parts are melodic and you remember them because of the melody that they created. And the way that you do that is learning the chord shapes and how those apply in relation to the scale shapes. Once you get that, you are in business. Yes! Way to go, way to go. Now, if you guys want more like this, or gals, I always say guys, meaning, both parties, but I'll say guys and gals to be specific. Because I know there's some rockin' chicks out there. You could freaking love you guys. See, I did it again. Love you girls. You're amazing. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Down below, the comments, just leave me some suggestions. If you guys like this direction, I'll go for 1,000 miles because I love teaching this stuff. And if you guys are digging it, let me know. That would be awesome. You're amazing. Thank you for the support. Check out papastache.com down below if you like how I teach. That's me teaching all this kind of stuff. So check that out as well. You guys are awesome. I'll catch you next time.